Glenn, for as many years as I've known you, believe it or not, this is our first interview, man. And we're talking like decades here. So
And
this is crazy.
yeah, this is going to be a special one. I haven't had this much reaction, I think, for any other event or party I've ever been involved with. It really hits an emotional nerve with people, and it brings back so many great memories, especially from the 90s.
Before we get into what's behind me here, just sort of
I
show
love it.
that if you don't know this logo, that something's wrong. I just want to ask, how are you been keeping, man? Like I said, I've watched you over the years. Mad respect for everything you've done in the entertainment and fashion.
Oh, likewise.
Like
Yeah.
you've always broken ground with everything you've done, man, and you're still looking amazing.
Thanks for saying so, Rudy. And it's a pleasure to be on the other side of the microphone. I'm more comfortable asking questions than answering them, but I'm excited to talk about this project. Yeah, so I worked for about a year and a half ago. I kind of pivoted and changed careers and I work for Freed Developments. They launched a new division a while back, Freed Hotels and Resorts. And I'm kind of like helping and contributing to a developer transitioning to hospitality. They own Deerhurst and Horseshoe and Muskoka Bay Resort and land that will be developed at Blue Mountain. And we're doing an amazing world-class hotel and condo right downtown with the architects who did the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. So I'm excited about that project. So once in a while, I kind of like pitch ideas to Lavelle, which is one of our properties on King Street, a beautiful rooftop pool venue. And when I proposed this, they were all giggly and excited. And then we reached out to CAMH. We're going to be raising money for the Center for Addiction and Mental Health, CAMH, and they're equally excited. And it just kind of like it's this little event that's growing, and everybody wants to chip in and participate and be a part of it.
Okay, so let's make it official. Why is this logo behind me? Everything you just said, how does it all tie in? What is going to be happening, the date, what it is, and where it's going to happen?
So save the date, Friday, September 29th. We are throwing an Electric Circus EC party to celebrate the iconic dance show's 35th anniversary. It first hit the airwaves in 1988 during the glory days of Much Music. It was hosted by Monica Diol, who will be reprising her role and hosting this event for us. George Lakajanis will also be there with a special appearance. We have Simone Denny of Love Inc. fame, Juno Award winner, a great vocalist. She'll be performing a 2-song set. Broken Bones and Superstar. We're looking forward to that. And of course, we're going to have some EC dancers. New dancers, and of course some of the alumni who danced on the show and who were stars on that show every weekend. And I put together this playlist. I have 114 tracks from back in the day. I keep going down the Electric Circus rabbit hole, but we posted on social media, and it's like everybody's commenting, everybody's excited, and we hear all these stories like, oh, like this is where we met, or is so and so coming? We got to go to this. I had a comment yesterday that really touched me. Somebody said, if it wasn't for EC, I would not have been a dancer. And I look him up, and he's a National Ballet of Canada dancer who performed in Stuttgart for many years. And now Evan wants to curate our dancers and do the choreography. And we've got a great DJ lineup from back in the day. Of course, we reached out to some of the DJs who would appear regularly on Electric Circus. And some are still active today, but we have one guy, the first guy to reach out to me, Chris Conway. He works in an IT department for some corporation. And he goes, Glenn, I just want to be a part of this. I just want my name on the flyer. I will start the night off. So we have Ludacris. We have MC Flipside, who's a DJ music producer. I think Juno Award winner. Tricky Morera will be spinning. Yeah. And Nick Fiorucci. Nick Fiorucci used to be on the show many times. I think you could even call him EC's house DJ. He's, of course, known for High Bias Records, which he founded. And he also won a Much Music Video Award, Best Dance Video in 1994 for a group that he formed called Temperance. So these guys are coming in, and they're playing music from that era. We're encouraging guests to wear their best PVC PVC outfits and stuff. But I mean, I have so many great memories of that show. I used to work in the City Pulse newsroom, City TV newsroom down the hall.
Yeah.
And on Friday nights, especially in the summer, that building, that iconic building at Queen and John would vibrate. I would go to the men's washroom and it felt like a boys' locker room. The guys would be changing into their outfits. You know, they'd be spraying themselves with cologne because they were dancing underneath, harsh spotlights for like 90 minutes straight. So yeah, just great memories all around.
You know, I go way back. I even go before Electric Circus. I remember Boogie.
Well, that's it. And well, let's refresh people's memory. Electric Circus was born out of Boogie. If it wasn't for Boogie, there may not have been an EC. So Boogie was what era? Like 80s, and it was
that would have been that would have been late 70s,
Wow.
early 80s. And the reason why I remember it so much, I was on Boogie Junior once.
Come on.
Yeah, I was like 11 or 12 years old. There's probably footage somewhere.
Jeez.
So I remember with Paul Godfrey and the Boogie Dance crowd. Now,
and SCTV did a spoof on that show, right? Mel's Rock Pile. Eugene Levy played the host, so it was a big deal. So Moses Neimer, who was the head of the media empire, thought, okay, let's do a modern day Boogie, and Electric Circus was born. It first went to air at 299 Queen Street West in 1988, September 1988, with Monica Diol hosting. And it was an afternoon show with a much younger, with much younger participants. And then eventually Monica asked to bring the show from the afternoon to, Friday nights. We were in the middle of Clubland, and DJ culture was exploding. Toronto was becoming a rave destination. I think it was around that time where Toronto went from being a very boring, conservative Anglo-Saxon city where Sundays everything was closed, last call was at 1, and then all of a sudden, boom, warehouse parties, raves came around, and DJs started to make a name for themselves here in Toronto and around the world, and really nightlife exploded.
And the biggest nights that they would have is when they were at Canada's Wonderland, Electric Circus. Huge.
Yeah, there was one guy, Sean Byfield, who reached out to me, and he said he was at that last ever show. Rainbow Sun Franks, who was a VJ on Much Music, who's now a top Canadian actor, he said that he was the last EC host in the 2000s. So after Monica, there were a few other hosts. I think her last episode was shot in 1996, and there were a few other hosts, and Rainbow Sun Franks was apparently the last EC host, and he said he's going to be dropping by on September 29th.
Let's not just talk about, great music, great artists who performed on it. But let's talk about what it really represented. It represented a culture that it didn't matter what your background was, what you looked like, how you dressed or whatever. For those few hours on television, broadcast, people came together. If there was ever a great representation of a melting pot for Toronto, Electric Circus showed it every Friday night.
Yes, very, very inclusive, really diverse, a reflection of the community it served. You're right about that. That's for sure.
So going back again, because this is the 35th anniversary, one more time, go back again. What is going to be happening? When does it start? When we walk in, what we're going to see? What is going to happen with all this? And of course, Monica being there too.
And Monica lives in Vancouver, so it's a big deal that she'll be in Toronto for this. And she doesn't normally say yes to projects like this, but she's full into it. So yes, September 29th, Friday, September 29th, at Lavelle, 627 King Street West, rooftop pool venue. We will transform it into an EC environment for that night with EC dancers. Simone Denny of Love Inc. performing Superstar and Broken Bones. We're going to have Ludacris, MC Flipside, Tricky Morera, and Nick Fiorucci, and maybe one more DJ that we will announce shortly. George Lakajanis, original EC co-host, will be there. And
is he going to bring his camera?
He's going to bring his, I don't know if he's going to bring his camera, but we're so happy that he's there. He recently retired from CP24 Breakfast after a lengthy career at 299 Queen Street West. And we should mention that the timing is interesting because it's exactly 1 week after the Canadian premiere of the Much Music documentary called 299 Queen Street West, which will be screened at Roy Thompson Hall with a Q&A with some of the VJs from back in the day who are going to talk about their years at Much Music. It had its world premiere, I think, last spring at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. So we're doing this party 1 week after the documentary screening.
Double whammy. This is going to be so amazing. I'm definitely going to, I know I'm going over to the Much Music screening. I'm going to be there for that and the red carpet. I got to get my butt down there. I might have to lose a little bit more weight to get there, but I'm going to do what I can because this was a very special time in Toronto. We haven't seen something like this in a long time.
It's still to this day, like you're going to go to the Much Music documentary screening, but to this day, one of the most talked about shows is still EC. There were lots of shows and specials and programs during the Much Music heydays, but people still love to talk about EC. Bring EC back, whether you loved it or hate it, mocked it, you talk about it, and chances are you watched it.
You did. You did.
And you're going to be able to live it. You're going to be able to walk into that time machine. We might even throw a speaker's corner in there. Like it's going to be something. But it's going to be a beautiful. It's going to be a beautiful reunion because I mean we're getting older, and to get that crowd and those people together, I think is important. And it's not the chances of it happening again are pretty slim, right?
2 questions. One, where do we get our tickets?
Eventbrite. They're sold through Eventbrite, Electric Circus, eventbrite.ca.
And 2, do you think there's a chance maybe next year you could do a boogie, bring Boogie back?
Bring Boogie back. Okay, well, I'll suggest it at the next production meeting.
I love it, my friend. Thank you so much for bringing back one of the most iconic times Toronto has ever seen. Not just Toronto, Canada. We were all tuning in.
We were all tuning in. It was a national show for sure.
And this sounds like a great party. And one last question. We should remind people, as much as we're boogieing down and having a great time, it is for a worthy cause.
That's right. Proceeds, part of the proceeds going to CAMH, the Center for Addiction and Mental Health.
Fantastic, my friend. Thank you so much for the interview, and thank you for bringing this back.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Rudy.